18 days. That's how long I kept a blank document open. Just sitting there like it was daring me to type something. Every day I told myself, tomorrow. When I have a better idea, when I feel ready, when I finally get the perfect words to write. But that day never came. The document just stayed blank. I wasn't stuck because I didn't have ideas. I was stuck because I was hesitant to face what would be the outcome. And we do this with everything, don't we? We wait, we prepare, we collect tutorials, read books, take notes, and convince ourselves that we're getting ready. But deep down, we're not preparing, we're protecting. Protecting ourselves from the possibility that once we start, we might find out we're not as talented, disciplined, or special as we hoped. That's what psychologists call ego preservation, the mind's instinct to protect our self-image from failure. It's not laziness, it's self-defense. Your brain's amygdala lights up at the first hint of uncertainty, treating the unknown like a threat. So it whispers, wait, think a little more, plan a little longer. And that's how weeks turn into years. We wait for a version of ourselves who's smarter, braver, more confident. But that person doesn't exist. The only version of you capable of doing the work is the one who's scared, messy, and still willing to begin. You know what I realized, staring at that blank document? Clarity doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. You don't figure out what to write by planning. You figure it out by writing badly and fixing it. You don't learn to draw by studying anatomy for 6 months. You learn by drawing terrible hands until they stop looking like fleshy spiders. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. Neuroscience even proves this. When you act, even in small ways, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of progress. That tiny hit of "I did something" starts a feedback loop called the action-motivation cycle. You don't act because you're motivated. You get motivated because you act. But starting still feels humiliating. Your first attempt is always worse than you imagined. It's clunky, uncertain, uncomfortable. And that's exactly what makes people quit. We mistake the feeling of learning for the feeling of failing. But that discomfort, that's a signal that your brain is literally rewiring itself, forming new neural pathways, building competence through friction. Every master you admire has felt like an imposter. They just didn't stop. They began anyway. Philosophers have been saying this for centuries. Kierkegaard said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." You won't understand what you're doing until after you've done it. We all want the map before the journey. But maps only exist because someone walked first. That's the paradox. You gain understanding only through movement. Every action, no matter how imperfect, shrinks the gap between who you are and who you want to be. That's behavioral science, the intention-action gap, and it's bridged not by willpower, but by pattern interruption. The next time you feel yourself hesitating, do the smallest, most embarrassingly simple version of the thing. Write one messy paragraph. Sketch one awkward line. Record one raw idea. Your brain will follow your body's lead. Because once you begin, fear loses its authority. Your biology switches sides, from protection to propulsion. Momentum replaces motivation. Movement creates meaning. I finally wrote something in that document. It was bad, really bad. But the second I started typing, something shifted. Ideas came, not because I was ready, but because I was moving. And suddenly, the blank page wasn't scary anymore. It was just a page. Maybe that's the whole thing. You don't wait until you're ready. You don't wait until you know what you're doing. You don't wait until the fear goes away. You just begin, badly, messily, imperfectly, because nothing in your life will change until you do. The book won't write itself while you're researching. The business won't build itself while you're planning. The skill won't grow while you're watching others practice. You have to start. Today, now, even if it's terrible. Especially if it's terrible. Because every time you begin, even in fear, you're rewriting the story your brain tells about who you are. And maybe that's what courage really is, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move while fear follows along quietly in the passenger seat. So start. Start before you're ready. Start before you're perfect. Start because the version of you you're waiting for is waiting for you. Begin anyway.